welcome to
welcome to
Market Matters with Megan and Mom.
Here, we're going to start a new thing. Clink, clink.
Okay, what do you think is a buyer's number one fear?
So when I would meet with buyers, a lot of times they're really afraid of paying too much for a house or picking the wrong house. So those are the things that I think like that's their fear. What if I pick the wrong house? And what if I pay too much for it?
I guess in my brain, I'm like, if you pick the wrong house, well, you're spending a lot of money. So I think it's hard to pick the wrong house and it's hard to find the perfect home. But sometimes you don't need to find your forever home. You can find your for right now home. Yeah. And then later down the line, upgrade or build or do exactly what you want. I
always say too, this is not like having a baby or adopting a pet. This is a reversible decision.
Yeah.
If you pick a house and you live in it 6 months and you hate it,
you can sell it.
You can sell it. It's going to cost you money. You're not going to make a profit. You might lose some money. But this is a reversible decision if you did make a mistake.
Yeah.
So,
which around here, we've seen some people thinking, I want the bigger house and then the longer commute. And then they have to do the longer commute and decide, I cannot do that commute. I'm ready to move north and downsize.
Yes. Or if you move into a community and you just don't like it, it's reversible.
So the average buyer searches for 10 weeks. And do you find that to be true?
I actually don't. We just finished with some buyers last week, and I had to virtually show them houses. They are not here in Virginia, but they've been looking online for a while. So if you counted all the time they're looking online, but they weren't ready to buy yet.
Yeah.
And so when they told me they were ready to buy on Wednesday, on Thursday, the first house I showed them was everything they wanted in a house.
Yeah.
Now, we had done a lot of counseling as to this is what you can afford. And if you can afford a townhouse, and if you want a single family house, we have to drive another 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 50 minutes. And so they did some real
soul
searching as to if that was right for them. And once they determined what was right for them, they actually asked me, is it okay to write a contract in the first house we see? So I showed them 2 other houses and I'm like, this is everything you want. And it's perfect. So I would say my average buyer, once they reach the point where they know what they want, it's less than 2 weeks, unless we're in a market where we're writing multiple offers and we're getting outbid. Then that can take longer.
But I guess I have a question of the conversation of, I guess, more of a consultation of what can you afford? What should you be looking at? How far in advance do you feel like you have that with clients?
Well, everybody's different. So some people, and it's funny because when I like to have everybody in the consultation, because sometimes husbands and wives have different priorities. Yeah. And sometimes they have to sort that out. And so having the conversation of what's important to you can change after they figure out, well, I wanted move-in ready. Well, I wanted a cheaper house. And, figuring out where that neutral ground is.
Yeah.
But I would say once I start with a buyer, it's less than a month. And it used to be when I started in this business in the early 2000s, when you were just a little baby.
Yes. We have pictures of me and your abs.
My average buyer we'd go out like 4 weekends in a row and we would look at like 10 houses every weekend. And so they were looking at like 40, 50 houses. Now,
this is before,
there were no photos.
I'm about to say this is before the ease of digitally looking online and looking at the pictures of the house and the 3D tour and all the.
Oh yeah, you would show up to a house and you'd be like, oh, that's not what was described in the paragraph because there was no photo. Yeah. You're like, no. So sometimes I would have to look for more, but my average buyer in the early 2000s looked at somewhere between 20 to 50 homes. Now I would say it's
More like
10
10?
homes or less.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel like
markets change.
that's true? Do you feel like buyers learn pretty quickly what they do and do not like, or do you have clients who just kind of still stay in the I don't know what I want phase for a long time?
I think it's a discovery process. I think I call it kissing frogs, which is hard because if the prince is the first one you kiss, you don't know always it's the prince. And so that's the process of going out and looking and going, okay, this is what my dollar buys me. And I thought I wanted 4 bedrooms, but you know what? 3 bedrooms and a den would work. Like, sorry. People find the funny things come up. Like they'll walk in a house and they're like, oh, hell no. And they're like, okay, what's wrong with the house? Well, it backs to a busy road. Okay, note to self, no busy roads.
Yeah.
And or you walk in a house and you're like, oh, did I tell you I have to have gas cooking? I will not buy a house that doesn't have gas. You're like, okay, note to self.
Yep.
Or I have to have a garage, or so that's for me, that's a buyer consultation. I try and sift some of these things out. And then just getting out there and looking at houses with them helps a lot. I know a lot of buyers are trying to do it on their own, but I'm here to guide you. And then I'm also here to remind you, if you tell me what your priorities are, sometimes it's easy to be won over by a pretty house. But if that house didn't match the priorities you told me, I'm just going to
Yeah.
remind you that you told me school district, or you told me,
Commute.
or commute. And here's a really, really pretty house, but because I really want you to end up with what's best for you. So,
This has been Market Matters with Megan and
Mom.
Mom. Okay.
Okay.